Shifts are usually the easiest for function transformations. They seem pretty logical. In trigonometry they can be sort of tough because you have to add some strange fractions with pi and things, but in general shifts are not too bad. Okay, again, here's the absolute value function. I want to look at what happens to this. For example, if I take the absolute value of x and now let's say I subtract 3 from it, and notice I'm subtracting 3 outside of the function absolute value. Okay? Then what happens is, over here if x is 1, y is 1. Over here if x is 1, y is negative 2. So instead of being at 1, 1 like it is here, it's at 1, negative 2. Over here if x is 0, y is 0. Over here if x is 0, y is negative 3. And so you can start to see that every y value over here in this blue graph for the function g should be 3 less than every y value over here. So this minus 3 is very literal. Subtract from y values. Okay? So that has the effect of shifting the whole graph down by 3. So you end up with this graph that doesn't go through the origin anymore. It starts at 0, negative 3 because the origin's been shifted down. And in fact every y value has been shifted down by 3. So this is a vertical shift down by 3. So it affects the y values because it's vertical. Let's look at another one. Very similar, except now we're subtracting 3 from the x. And so what happens here is we need to think, since this is happening inside with the x, up here, if I want the inside of the absolute value to be 0, x would be 0. Down here, if I want the absolute value to be 0, x would have to be 3. So what we have to do is think about this as every x value that we choose here has to counteract the subtraction of 3. So every x value here is going to be 3 more than every x value here. So we have to add to the x values. So we have to add 3 here to counteract the subtraction of 3. So that means 0, 0 now. The x value is going to be 3, the y is still going to be 0, so we get 3, 0. And so every order pair, the x is going to increase by 3, so that correlates to a shift right by 3 units. So you'll end up with this graph. So when you subtract 3 inside from the x, that means you have to shift right by 3. It's horizontal because it affects the x's, and you have to counteract it because it affects the x's. You don't subtract and go left, you subtract, which means you need to add to counteract, which means go right.